Between Me and You. Patrick Fyffe in character, today as Basil Migden in Showboat Won't Be the Same.
Let's say, just gone 10:15. Yes, they'll just about be packing up now. Frank will be trying to persuade them to go until 10, but Doris will be putting her cycle clips on, so he might as well save his breath. Stupid woman. Dragging that bike inside with her every week and leaning it on the back of the piano. If I've told her once, I've told her 100 times. Who in their right mind is going to pinch that pile of old scrap iron? No, it's her they should have got rid of. When I think of the time she's just sat there with her arms folded and the lid down, refusing to take her gloves off and play because the heating's not working, ooh, it makes me sick. No question. She's the one who should have gone. It's her they should have voted off the committee, not me. Oh, we can't do that. If we get rid of her, then her husband will leave, then we won't have a cellist. So you get another one, don't you? Well, it isn't as easy as that, Basil. When someone's been with the society 25 years, you can't just tell them you don't want them, can you? Why not? They told me, didn't they? Well, not in as many words. And I've been a member for 30 years. Ooh, they make me sick. I wonder how it went tonight, though. They'll have missed me, that's for sure. Served them bloody well right. They've done themselves no favours pushing me out like that. No favours at all. And when I think of all the favours I've done them down the years, and not just me, there's Eileen as well, and her mother, and my mother, when she was able. What about all those costumes for La Belle Lane? Yes, Mother nearly went blind sewing all those togas in one weekend. And what did they give her? A bottle of sherry. Yes, a measly bottle of sherry. British sherry as well. Oh, they've no taste. Nearly took the roof off her mouth. I said at the time she was a fool to offer her services. And what does she say? What does she say? Oh, that's all right, Basil, I don't mind. It'll keep me busy during the winter evenings. Kept her busy, all right. So busy that Eileen had to go in and cook all her meals for her because she didn't have time to do it herself. Half dead at the end of it. And as if that wasn't enough, they didn't like the colours. Well, Basil, we don't think ancient Greeks wore floral togas. How do they know? Just because there aren't any photos to say otherwise. Doesn't mean to say they didn't. No imagination. I blame Frank, of course. Oh, he's another one who should go. But he's a founder member, you see. Oh, you don't get rid of founder members. Oh, no, give them a little medal on a blue ribbon and they're there for life. I wonder who sat in my place tonight. I bet it was Harold Uppert. Toffee-nosed little creep. He's had it in for me ever since I got that write-up for Bittersweet. Basil Migden as Carl Linden, the singing teacher in Noel Coward's Bittersweet, gives a performance worthy of any touring production. Yes. He couldn't look at me after that. Added to which, I was able to play the piano on stage and not have to have someone in the wings doing it for me. Yes, he didn't like that either. Ooh, jealousy's a terrible thing, especially in a man. I wouldn't mind betting that it was him who took the pin out of the piano lid at the Saturday matinee, so that it fell off during I'll See You Again, because I know it didn't fall out on its own. And if I hadn't been quick thinking and said it was woodworm, that would have been a right disaster. I bet he was responsible for that. I wonder what the audiences will think of Showboat, if they manage to get it on. Got to get a boat built first. And who's going to build that, I wonder, now that I'm not there? I reckon it won't be long before that phone rings. Hello, Basil. How's things? We were wondering if you were busy over the next few weeks. We need a Showboat. Well, they'll have to go on needing. Should have thought about that before they voted me off the committee. Mind, I'd have gone anyway. Well, no option. After that casting fiasco, it was a bloody insult. Offering me the part of Rubberface, coughing a spit, my public wouldn't have accepted it. Even though I say it myself, I'm a natural for Gaylord Ravenel. Who else is there in the society who can really put over Why Do I Love You and You Are Love? I mean, those songs could have been written for me. And after White Horse Inn last year playing Leopold, well, I would have thought it would have been obvious. Well, Eileen thought so as well. What makes it worse is why they had to add insult to injury by giving the part to a total stranger. Someone who's only been with the society for a couple of weeks. All right, so he's been in the chorus of Covent Garden. So what? Doesn't make him a natural for Gaylord Ravenel. I'd like to have seen him playing Leopold. And what did the Echo say? Basil Migden, the Howard Keel of the West Midlands, does it again. Yes, there can't be many men who've been called the Howard Keel of anywhere. And that's another thing. This new chap'll have his work cut out working with Heather. Ooh, she's a right little madam. Nice on the surface, but underneath, temper like a wildcat. Oh, I know. Ooh, I've been on the receiving end of that temper many a time. Basil, I wish you wouldn't eat garlic before a performance. You know how it upsets me. Basil, you trod on my foot again tonight in the finale to Act 1. Merry widow. Miserable old widow, more like. Oh, she's got the voice, I'll give her that. Well trained. Oh, lovely to sing with. But, ooh, what a temper. I pity her husband. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take it out on his patients in the surgery. In fact, I'm amazed the marriage has lasted so long. And she's no saint. If he'd known what went on at the Camelot party, and all three of them there together, oh, dynamite with a very short fuse that night. Of course, he knew she was safe with me. He had no need to worry on that score. Our scenes in Bless the Bride and No No Nanette were all very tastefully done. Well, she thought of that. Always kissed facing upstage, so our lips never met at all. Looked very convincing from the front, though. And Eileen saying, if I hadn't been standing in the wings and seen it for myself, I'd have said you'd gone the whole hog. And that's another thing. My marriage to Eileen, they've always been jealous of the fact we met in the company. Got married, stayed together, which is more than you can say for some. Wonder how she's got on tonight. Can't have been easy for her. I mean, she can't really stay on now that I've gone. Not really. Not after this. Mind, I would never suggest she gives it up, not for a moment. But we've always been a team, Eileen and me, and if she stays on, it might look as though we'd fallen out, and I wouldn't want them thinking that. Nasty minds, most of them anyway. Thinking about it now, it's probably Jenny Pounder who's behind all this. Yes, that's it. It's Jenny Pounder. It's the sort of thing she would dream up. I can just hear her. Let's get Basil off the committee, and when we've got him off, we'll get his wife off as well. Yes, I can see it all now. That's what she's after. Nasty mind that woman's got. Ever since I started the musical youth group, she's had it in for me. Oh, come on, Eileen. We've got a lot to talk about, you and I. They'll miss the car tonight. No round trips dropping people off at their door. Not that I've minded, but looking back, they've done very well out of me over the years. I don't know, perhaps I should have gone to collect Eileen tonight. I could have waited round the corner. I can just hear Doris. Basil not picking you up then? Oh, never mind, lovey. The bus'll be along in a minute. I hope she falls off her bike. She's not even a good pianist. Plays with a loud pedal on all the time, yes. They should get rid of her. And not that I'd admit it to anyone apart from Eileen. But I've never forgiven that woman for laughing at me when I first got my hairpiece. Pointing at me in front of everyone as though I was on show in the zoo. OK, so the first one wasn't a good match, but it saw me through the student prince. No one would have noticed if it hadn't been for Doris pointing from the pit. She knew what she was doing, drawing attention to it. And when I think back, it was her husband, Ernest, who suggested the collection for the operation on my eye. I say, Basil, old boy, have you ever thought of having your squint put right? Squint? Squint? It was only a slight cast. It never worried me, or the audiences for that matter. After all, they were happy enough about me playing Dick Deadeye in HMS Pinafore. Inspired casting, the Echo called it. Yeah. I'll bet Viv will have had something to say tonight. She couldn't believe it when I said I was leaving after 30 years. I mean, it's a long time. 18 when I joined, and they were glad to have me. Always been a shortage of men, Basil, don't know why it is, but there's always been more women than men in the Operatic Society. Well, if they treat them all the way they've treated me, they'll end up with a women-only society. Company doormat, that's what I've been. Ooh, they've got such short memories. They forget what I've done, how I've held things together in a crisis. I'd always sacrificed myself for the good of the show. Even when I broke my arm and had to wear a sling in South Pacific, I still went on. Yes, there's not many as would do that. Not with the pain I suffered. OK, so I blacked out on the first night. But again, quick-thinking Basil comes to the rescue. Sunstroke. That's what I said. Oh, the audience love that. That's what audience is like. Someone who's in command of the situation. No, I don't care what they say. Showboat won't be the same. It wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't a letter in the Echo asking why Basil Migden wasn't in the cast. Yes, that'll give them something to think about. Still, it's funny not being there tonight. Apart from holiday breaks, this is the first Wednesday I've not been down to the hall since I joined them. Always sat facing the door. That way I saw everyone as they arrived. 28 minutes past. Sonia's not here. Always the last minute, Sonia. She'll be missing me. I could see her trying not to cry when I said I was leaving. And she knew people laughed at her when she couldn't get her moves right, like in the Gondoliers when she played Tessa. All right, so her voice didn't carry right to the back, but she was keen, and she was vivacious in a quiet sort of way. They don't give people a chance. Encouragement is what they need, not shouting at. That's why Ina left. The shouting ruined her, they did. Nobody could survive that kind of treatment. Nice, quiet girl like Ina, living away from home, missing her friends and family, joins the Society for Company, never confessed to having a brilliant voice. And what do? Shout at her in front of everyone. That was Jenny Pounder's doing. Cow of a woman. Ooh, they make me sick. I'm well out of it. Thinking about it now, I wonder why I stayed so long. No, Showboat won't be the same without me. After all, people have come to expect a certain standard. And when you set that standard, you've got to keep to it. And they're not doing it. I mean, fancy giving the part of Joe to Steve Fetcher. I mean, it was obvious he should have gone to Claude. After all, he's West African. And another thing, he had every right to expect to be given the part. 15 years of being in the chorus and bit parts, and every year at the AGM when they ask for member suggestions for the next production, he's always said Showboat. And when at last they decide to do Showboat, who do they give the part to? Steve Fetcher. Steve Fetcher, a bloody Scotsman. Great voice, yes, but it's not fair to Claude. I think he should have resigned. I do, I really do. The part was made for him. And then asking Eileen to play Ellie and understudy Parthy Hawkes. Whose idea was that, I wonder? Jenny Pounder again, probably, yes. Oh, the more I think about it, it would be better if Eileen left. I'll keep out of it. I won't try and persuade her, because she must make up her own mind. But I think it might be better if she left now, while they've still got time to find someone else. Otherwise, the way things are going, she'll find she's been voted out at the next AGM, and she won't get a look in for Brigadoon. And who'll get the lead in that, I wonder? Probably Claude, and Steve Fetcher will find himself in the chorus. Oh, that'd be a nice one, yes. Frankly, though, I can't see them doing the business this year. Not once it gets round that I've left. The minute people hear that I've left, that'll be it. I've always had my followers, my loyal fans, and the proof of that is the Saturday matinees last year. Those pensioners would never have come out otherwise. Packed. And who was it said we should do a Saturday matinee? Oh, we don't think it's a good idea, Basil. But I proved them wrong, didn't I? And how do they show their gratitude? They vote me off the committee. Mind, if it hadn't been for Eileen, I wouldn't even have been nominated. But I'm no sooner off the committee and changed seats with Harold Huppert than they announced the cast for Showboat. And rubber-face Basil Migden. I'd no alternative. I had to resign. Any man worth his salt would have done the same. Rubber-face, I'll give them rubber-face. Why didn't they give the part to Archie Colston? He wouldn't need any makeup. No, it won't be the same, not without me. Hey up, is that the front gate? Must be Eileen. She must have had a lift. It'll be Harold Huppert. And there's only one reason he'd give Eileen a lift. He's come bearing an olive branch, I'll bet. Any excuse. Yes, well, it's a bit late for that. They should have thought about it before now. Well, better go and get the kettle on. You can always think better with a cup of tea inside you.
That was Showboat Won't Be the Same, written and presented by Patrick Fyffe, in character today as Basil Migden. Between Me and You was produced by John Fawcett Wilson.